It's 2025, and there's this weird feeling in the job market, you know? On the surface, everything seems okay. The economy is chugging along, unemployment isn't spiking. But if you're someone just trying to get started, trying to get your foot in the door, something feels deeply, fundamentally wrong. And you're not going to see this on the nightly news. There are no splashy headlines or big press releases from companies. This shift isn't a single dramatic event you can point to. It's happening quietly. And for that same reason, you won't see any protests in the streets. I mean, how do you get angry about something that just isn't there? This isn't a story about massive layoffs. It's a story about a void, an absence. It's a story about the job postings that never went up, the internships that just kind of faded away, and the careers that never even got a chance to launch. It's this silent structural change that's happening right under our feet. And this really gets to the heart of it. This is the core thesis. AI isn't really replacing experienced professionals wholesale. What it's doing is far more subtle and maybe even more profound. It's removing the very first rung of the career ladder. So how can things look so good on paper but feel so completely broken on the ground? Well, this leads us right into a massive contradiction in all the economic data we're seeing. And here is that disconnect laid bare. On one side, you have every signal of a healthy, growing economy. Stocks are up, profits are strong. But on the other side, you have the reality for people starting out. Graduates are struggling, junior roles are vanishing, and you see these so-called entry-level jobs that demand years of experience. These two things just shouldn't be happening at the same time. See, this isn't a normal recession where hiring just slows down across the board. Actually, hiring for senior roles is doing just fine. The collapse is happening specifically, almost surgically, at the lowest level of the corporate world. And that poses a really critical question for us, doesn't it? No matter how healthy a system looks on the outside, if it can no longer bring in new people, new blood, is it already on a path to failure? To really understand why this is happening, we first have to take a step back and remember how the career ladder was even supposed to work in the first place, because it was never just about getting cheap labor. A junior hire always served three key functions. First, execution. They handled the simple, repetitive stuff. But number two was training. This was crucial. This was how they absorbed a company's unique knowledge. And the third, and maybe the most important function, was building future capacity. You were investing in the people who would one day run the place. So the whole model was basically built on a delayed payoff. Companies were willing to eat the initial costs, the training time, the inevitable mistakes, the lower productivity, because they knew it would pay off big time years down the road when that junior employee became a super valuable senior leader. So what happened? How did this time-tested model just fall apart? Well, this is where AI enters the story and completely upends the entire thing. But it didn't replace what most people thought it would. AI isn't making the big strategic calls or replacing visionary leaders. What it's actually effectively replaced is that ramp-up phase, that entire period of learning, of grinding, of slowly becoming productive. That's the part that AI has automated away. I mean, think about it. All the classic junior-level tasks, drafting those first versions of reports, doing basic data analysis, running research, writing simple code, making initial design mockups, all of this is now handled instantly by AI tools that you give to your senior employees. So the whole hiring equation has completely flipped on its head. Before, the path to getting more work done was to hire and train more people. Now the fastest path is to just hire one experienced person and supercharge them with AI. It's faster, it's way less risky, and the output is immediate. This new logic doesn't just change how companies hire, it fundamentally breaks the entire idea of career progression as we've known it for generations. For decades, the path was clear. It was linear. You started as a junior, you learned the ropes, you moved up to mid-level, and then eventually you became a senior. Simple. The new path is brutally simple. You're either a senior who's armed with AI tools or you're on the outside looking in. The system didn't just evolve. It leaped forward, completely skipping over those first two rungs. And this creates an impossible paradox for anyone trying to break in. Everyone tells you, just get some experience. But how? How can you do that in a world that has systematically eliminated the very jobs that were created to give you that experience? The ladder is gone. It's been replaced by a wall. Now, it's really important to understand this isn't some evil corporate conspiracy. From a purely rational, short-term business perspective, this makes all the sense in the world. It jacks up productivity, it slashes training costs, and it makes the quarterly numbers look fantastic. It aligns perfectly with how executives are incentivized. But here's the catch. While this strategy is fantastic for optimizing the next financial quarter, it's creating massive systemic risks for the long term. And you can already see the fallout coming. When today's seniors retire, who's going to replace them? No one was trained. The few experienced people who are left will demand astronomical salaries, making inequality even worse. A whole generation locked out of opportunities starts to check out, and innovation slows down because you lose all those fresh, sometimes stupid questions that only juniors are brave enough to ask. So let's be absolutely clear. This wasn't an accident. The career ladder didn't just fall apart on its own. It was consciously, even if not maliciously, dismantled. It was removed in the name of short-term efficiency. The system has basically bypassed its own process for renewal. It's eating its own seed corn. So the question we're left with is, who's going to notice first? The companies that need new leaders? The governments that have to deal with the fallout? Or the generations standing outside knocking on a door that just isn't there anymore?